Right. Thank you everybody for joining. Um, this is the Ghana Property Forum. This was our third edition for this year. And what we normally do on the Ghana Property Forum is for us to have discussions on the real estate industry in Ghana, the land sector, the real estate industry, and any other pertinent issues that are bothering the industry, um, particularly in Ghana and across board. So we already have some recordings done on the mortgage market, on the legal implications in the industry, buying properties, and all of that. So you could find these on our YouTube channel. So for now, we are Prop Intel, but then we have the Ghana Property Forum that we use that as a channel to share knowledge on the property industry. As a Prop Intel, a property company, what we normally want to do is to promote transparency in African land, real estate construction, and infrastructure markets through technology, enabling the investment and occupier community and users of surveying services to sustainably make better decisions for a better world. And we are striving to achieve this by four main points. We are offering authoritative insights and opinions on the operation and performances of the property market. We are also promoting sustainability in professional standards and practices in surveying by enabling easy access to surveying professionals and services. We are also creating lifelong learning platforms and opportunities that help to equip surveyors, real estate investment, finance professionals with tools to analyze, present, and report and communicate real estate value marketability and feasibility to clients, investors, and in-house use. The last thing that we do is to provide essential tools that enable property developers and investors to structure their projects and deals to de-risk and facilitate construction and permanent finance capital raising. So these are the four key things that we want to achieve as Prop Intel, or we have always been striving to work towards. And one of the key aspect of it is also the Ghana Property Forum, which falls under our first thing of offering authoritative insight into the property market. And today, as you may be aware, we are looking at something concerning the digital real estate, which has to do with how surveying firms and surveyors are using online. How are they using online digital platforms to promote and advertise their businesses? But then the bigger question comes back to us whether surveyors can advertise or not. Yeah, and those are some of the things that we are going to be discussing today. If you look into the details of the reports that have been done so far, you can see that majority of the surveying firms, majority of the valuation firms, land surveying, valuation, and across board, they have very limited presence on social media. About 113 firms have been assessed, and the result is a shocker when it comes to those that are able to effectively utilize the digital domain for their business promotion and development. And that is why today we have Dr. Kenneth Donkoshama from the Department of Land Economy. He is also founder of the PropIntel LLC. So we are getting into the details of the discussion today. And trust me, if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. If you have any questions, you can even use the interaction session, the React session to tell us about what you want to hear. So, Doc, let's quickly get into it. I tried to introduce you a little bit. If you want to talk a little bit about yourself too, that would be great for us to have a better idea of your expertise and skills. But then, who are surveyors and why are they important? And why should we be having this discussion in the first place? Thank you.
Mhm. Okay, so Godwin, thank you for this opportunity to discuss this issue of digital real estate. And as you indicated, I I'm a lecturer at the Department of Land Economy. I basically teach courses in the area of real estate finance, investment appraisal, and sustainability. For some time now, perhaps the last decade, I have been very interested in um, the surveying profession and issues of professionalism. Personally, I believe that a lot of the problems Ghana faces could be mitigated or reduced in some form if um, the surveying profession is up and doing, right? So think about it. Land is a very basic resource for development. And indeed, there's no country in the world that has not, that has developed without dealing with the land question. You get it? And a lot of the countries that are struggling to develop is partly because they have not been able to find solutions to the land problems. And especially in the area of land management and the development of land, right? And this is where this group of professionals called the surveyors come in, right? Interestingly, you'll find that there are three categories of surveyors, at least in Ghana. Unfortunately, when you mention surveying or surveyors, reference is often made to just one group of people. That is the land surveyors, right? So when people say that they are looking for surveyors, a lot of the time they are referring to land surveyors, right? And for this reason, you find that the two other groups of surveyors, and here I'm referring to the quantity surveyors and the valuation and estate surveyors, are not as popular as the land surveyors. And it makes a lot of sense because one, for many people, the first point of call when they want to invest in land and in real estate in particular is to get a land surveyor to do a site plan of the land they want to purchase, right? So it makes a lot of sense if land surveying is appears to be the most popular type of surveying profession in Ghana. Now, perhaps I'll talk a bit about what these three groups of surveyors do. And when you pick the land surveyor, they are usually engaged in the mapping and demarcation of land boundaries for various purposes, right? The quantity surveyor often focuses on construction cost estimation, contract administration, and project management. Whereas the valuation and estate surveyor um, often focuses on property valuation, management, and land administration and land management in some form, right? So this or these are the three main surveying groups. And you would bear with me that they are very, very, very important, especially when you talk about things relating to land administration, real estate development and investment, infrastructure development, even environmental conservation and resource management. Yes. Yeah, so that is my response to the question about who the surveyor is and the role of surveyors in development.
All right. Thank you very much, Doc, for that insightful um, introduction. And for us, for everybody here, it is important for us to actually understand this petty, I won't call them petty, these very critical aspect of the industry because access in terms of um, ensuring that ensuring the legality of product in the market and also promoting peacefulness and why we are actually conducting this study. And for me, it's important for us to understand why we are conducting this study in order for our idea of why is it even important for surveyors to have a social media account? Why is it important for surveyors to be thinking about promoting their businesses? And say, okay, we are promoting our surveying profession. Given the fact that there are many industries, um, many professional industry that have banned their professional uh, um, but when we come to the surveying profession, can we advertise? Are we matured enough to advertise as an industry when it comes to Ghana? Are we matured enough to say, okay, do not advertise? People will willingly walk to you. Do you think that the inability of surveyors to advertise is also contributing to the major issues that are happening in the industry when it comes to people not registering their land, people not following the major protocols to buy, sell, and also dispose of their land? So Doc, you can take it from there with respect to
Okay.
the questions I've asked.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So you talked about the issue of technology. So why is this study important?
Yeah,
First, I quite remember before we started looking at this study, the main reason why um, we were interested in this study was because we were looking at how technology was impacting different professions, right?
yeah,
And globally, we know that technology is disrupting many industries, including the surveying profession. Indeed, jobs and activities in the built environment, according to the Royal Institute of Chartered Surveyors, have become vulnerable. And indeed, in their research titled The Impact of Emerging Technologies on the Surveying Profession, they estimate that valuers, for example, stood a 95% chance that their jobs would be automated by 2035, while surveyors in
mm,
general saw a 63% chance, right? And so um, there is some possibility that if you're a surveyor and you are not developing your technological skills, chances are that you may become outdated and you may lose grips in terms of the profession that you find yourself in. But another thing that for us motivated us to undertake this study was this very question you asked. Is it, or could it be the case that the fact that you don't see a lot of surveyors online or using various online platforms like social media platforms, um,
mm,
is it contributing to the lack of popularity of the surveying profession, especially among the average Ghanaian? Um,
yeah,
from where I sit, I think it does. Because remember the point I made earlier on that in Ghana, when you talk about surveying, most people think about land surveying. So why are they not thinking about the quantity surveyors and then the valuation and estate surveyors, right? It tells you that there are some knowledge gaps in there, right? And so in our preliminary um, investigation, we interacted with some surveyors about this issue of advertisement because we know that in some professions, like the law profession, advertisement is highly restricted, right? So we were interested in finding out whether it is so in the surveying profession. And to us, I mean, we realized that one of the preliminary findings we made was that almost all the people we interacted with, irrespective of their experience in surveying, had a certain notion that the professional association, which is the Ghana Institution of Surveyors, does not allow for explicit advertisement or promotion of services, right? So I was a
Yeah.
bit shocked, and I was particularly interested in finding out the authority behind this. And this is where I would say the second leg of the research began. So we decided that we were going to look for the authoritative materials that supported that view. And it's very surprising that one of the key materials we found, which directed us to various other authorities, was that the surveying profession, or the Ghana Institution of Surveyors, which is the main professional body for surveyors, does not restrict advertisement or promotion or valuation services, right? And so one of the materials we looked at, and I'd like to show you, is this book by Kweku Obimreku. So Kweku Obimreku is a surveyor, an experienced surveyor, and a lawyer. And currently, he's a part-time lecturer with the Department of Land Economy. So he's one of my colleagues at the department. And he wrote this book in 2021, The Making of the Surveyor. And this book is a book that is endorsed by the Ghana Institution of Surveyors and is even forwarded by the then president of the Ghana Institution of Surveyors, that surveyor, Dr. John Amaglo, right? And in fact, the book was reviewed by key members of the Ghana Institution of Surveyors. And in this book, he argues, in fact, there is a chapter, which is chapter 20, which basically answers the question, can surveyors advertise? And that is the title of that chapter, actually. And here he makes a very important point, that after looking at the Constitution, the bylaws, and the Code of Ethics of the Ghana Institution of Surveyors, he does not find anywhere in those key documents or those key authoritative documents that restrict explicit advertisement or promotion of of surveying services. Indeed, he makes reference to 4 main rules of the GHIS that seeks to regulate advertising activities by surveyors in Ghana, right? So maybe I want to take the opportunity to talk a little bit about these 4 key rules. And
That'll be
the
helpful.
first one is what he points out as Rule 10 of the Rules of Conduct for Members and Firms, which was published in 2007. And in this rule provides that a firm shall promote its professional services only in a truthful and responsible manner. So I'll read that again. A firm shall, and the emphasis is on shall, promote its professional services only in a truthful and responsible manner. Now, the next rule he refers to here is bylaw 16.1, which states that no member shall publicize his services or allow his services to be publicized in association with any good or service available from any other source in such a way as, in the opinion of the governing council, call into question the independence of his professional advice or give rise to conflict of interest, right? So in Rule 10, surveyors are mandated by the use of the word shall, right, to advertise, to promote the profession. But the condition is that it should be done in what? A truthful and responsible manner. When you look at the bylaw 16.1, it doesn't also give you any impression that surveyors can not advertise. Rather, it says that you should not do it in association with any the advertisement of any good or service that will put your independence as a professional into question. You get it? So if you are advertising your services and perhaps a food and drinks company wants to attach itself with what you are doing, and you realize that that could compromise your independence, then um, that is grounds for irresponsible behavior, for which reason you should not go ahead and do that advertisement. Now he looks at the third rule, which is Rule 17.1 of the Code of Ethics, which reads that every member shall ensure that any publicity for which he may be held responsible shall be accurate, not misleading, or likely to cause public offense. So once again, you can see that there's no restriction on whether you can advertise or not. But then it says that you would have to make sure that whatever publicity for which you'll be held responsible is accurate and not misleading or not offensive to the public. And then the last rule is Rule 5.4 of the Code of Ethics. And it provides that a member shall ensure that the requirements of a town and country planning, of the Town and Country Planning Act, Municipal and District Assembly bylaws on control of advertisements made thereunder relating to the erection and display of advertisement boards are complied with. So, you know, the local government, through the district assemblies and the municipal assemblies, have regulation of or regulate the size of signboards or signages and so on that can be placed or that can be used for purposes of publicity. So there are certain rules. And here you can see that the professional body is not restricting surveyors from, engaging in publicity through signboards, but rather the professional association is saying that you should comply with the regulations of these institutions. So quite clearly, when I read this chapter of the book, and more so because it's also coming from an experienced surveyor and a lawyer, right, who understands issues of law, matters of law, right, issues like constitution, bylaws, code of ethics, and his conclusions are that surveyors are not prohibited from advertising. And even more importantly, because this book is endorsed by the Ghana Institution of Surveyors, was reviewed by key people in the Ghana Institution of Surveyors. I wonder why surveyors have limited the promotion of their services and the surveying profession to referrals only and very traditional ways of business development. So I asked the question, why are surveyors, for instance, not using a lot of these technologically driven platforms, like these online platforms, social media platforms, to promote the surveying profession, and of course, for business development. And this was, once this hurdle of advertisement was cleared, we decided then to explore the extent to which surveying firms in Ghana are utilizing these online platforms, or what we are referring to as digital real estate, for the promotion of surveying. And perhaps I'll touch briefly on this idea of digital real estate, right? So almost every business operates from some form of real estate, right? Almost every business has some office or some shop. In the world of real estate, we call that corporate real estate. That's the corporate real estate, the underlying real estate that supports the business of that company. Now, traditionally, that is brick and mortar, and it is fixed in location. And so if you needed a service, you almost always needed to go to that office, right, to procure or get that service, right? And that is very limiting. Think about it. If someone maybe lives in Sunyani and your office is in Accra, the cost, what you in economics we call the transaction cost, is going to be very high, in trying to get the service from that company. And so one advantage of these online platforms, or what you call digital real estate, is that digital real estate is any digital asset that is owned by a business. And here, these online platforms enable firms, businesses to extend their corporate real estate,
Yeah.
in such a way that access to their services is enhanced. You get it? And so that is one of the key benefits of having these or having to use these online platforms. Yeah.
Well, that is a shocker or a kicker. Anyway, because I think a majority of the people in the industry and prior to my graduation from the land economy program in 2021, the conversation has been that surveyors cannot promote, cannot advertise their businesses, and so it's some sort of this. I think this is what the very first material that is clarifying that misconception about whether or not surveyors can advertise or not. And I think it's a good step. But like if you put a rope around the neck of a sheep for too long, it assumes the rope is still there. So there's still more work to be done in terms of psychologically um, renewing the mindset of the industry about the possibility that they can advertise. Because from the report that is available from the research that was done last year, it still indicates the scanty nature of the industry professionals in promoting the business, the surveying profession. And so I think, Doc, it would be good for you to actually take us through the study, how the study was done. I think we have now firmly grasped the understanding of the motivation for the study and how it was done and what are the findings and implications. What should the industry be doing? What are students in school be doing? What should they be doing? How should they be positioning themselves to take advantage of this huge opportunity that is in the industry with respect to promoting of the surveying profession?
Okay. So thank you, Godwin. Yeah. So I like the point you made about, tying a rope to a sheep um, for a long period of time, and then it assumes that it cannot move, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Interestingly, in my interactions, I realized that many of the things that influence the behavior of surveyors, especially in relation to explicit promotion or advertisement of surveying services, is because of what the rule perhaps was some years ago, right? So when I was a student, I had the same notion, and I was a student about more than about 13 years ago, and this notion that people cannot advertise was still there, right? And
yeah,
in my interaction with very old people in the profession, there was a sense that it used to be the case that there were very strict rules on advertisement.
yeah,
People could not advertise, and the only channel for promoting yourself, perhaps one of the key channels, or perhaps one of the main channels for advertising yourself or promoting your services was through referrals and excellent delivery of services, such that
yeah,
third parties can then, or your client will go out there and market or promote your services for you. You get it? Yeah.
yeah,
So